hard working for things that you don't like gives you stress. Hard work for the things that you like or love is passion. I didn't want to take risk with anyone else's money. I just feel ashamed that if I take someone else's money and fail, I will not be able to face them. The biggest learning for me, which I believe is very important for any founder, in fact, for anyone to be successful in life, is how to deal with bad people. So for you to become a senior leader, you should have experience at least in two of these three skills. You have to be in the tortoise and a rabbit race. You have to be rabbit and you cannot take a pause.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Diary of a Founder, where we meet interesting founders and understand their journey in a honest and unfiltered way. Like we say, this is a show by the founders, for the founders, and with the founders. Here we meet founders from Bangalore to Bay Area via London to understand how builders are building products across the world, and we learn from each other. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, Pragati, take it over.
Yeah. Today we have Chandan with us. He is our guest. Hi, Chandan. Thanks for joining us. So, a little bit about him. Chandan used to head product management and strategy at Amazon. He has spent over a decade working at Amazon, I believe. And interesting thing about him is that he joined Amazon in 2010, which is the time when Amazon was not even like a company I would think about when I'm shopping, and now all I can think about is Amazon. So that's pretty interesting, and I would love to cover some of those bits later in the conversation. In 2021, Chandan moved on to only hydroponics, which is into basically agriculture with hydroponics technique. And we will learn more about it because we also don't know much about the technique. I want to call out that recently you had a stardom moment where you were featured on ET Now's most inspiring entrepreneurs to watch in 2025 list, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
So, welcome to the show, Chandan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So why don't we start with that, the ET Now moment? What is it about? Maybe we start there and then we can go back in timeline. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I don't know what they were looking for, but they were definitely looking for some young crowd who were coming out and doing things which were unconventional. Enough number of people had done IT. I'm not saying IT is bad or anything. I started my career with IT, but enough number of people had done that. They were looking for something more unconventional this time because that's what is the inspiration for the next generation. And they did heavy lifting in terms of shortlisting themselves and then reached out to many of us, I think, and get a detailed bio, understood the company, understood the founder, and then finally they awarded the most inspiring entrepreneurs for 2025 to five, I think, a total of
It's like,
five. Yeah, total of five at an India level. So that was a feels good to be recognized.
of course, it should.
Big. Yeah, it is big. Yeah. I think you shouldn't shy away from taking credits. Yeah.
But uh, just to give a perspective, that was not the first time.
You have been a star for a while. Oh, I know there is some 2023 listing also that came where you were.
2023, ET Now had featured us, Money Control had featured us, even from the government side as well. Just to give a perspective, we are now one of the largest agri-tech companies of UP and one of the largest at an India level as well. So starting from Modi ji to Yogi ji, everyone at least virtually recognized our company, did some or the other kind of award. They didn't visit the farm personally, but our farm, recent farm in UP, was virtually inaugurated by Modi ji.
Oh,
That's wow. Okay.
wow, awesome. I think, yeah, it's good that we are covering all this in the first few minutes of the episodes where people will just glue in.
Yeah, so it again, it's not like things that we are doing is big enough yet, but definitely things that we are doing are new age agriculture, which is the need of India right now and most of the world at least. And unfortunately, not enough number of uh, I don't want to use educated, but not enough number of talented skill is coming into this field uh, as of yet, right? So that's sort of a recommendation to do something new in the first time.
No, I mean, I'm quite fascinated. Like, even when you were moving on from Amazon and you mentioned that this is what you're planning to do, I was like flabbergasted that wow, this is awesome. So, I mean, do you want to maybe start from a little bit like from like a little bit behind in your career before like maybe start from the place where like you were deciding to join Amazon? Like, why did you join Amazon in
Okay.
2010? Bala, do you want to start?
No, yeah, even further, like, yeah, I mean, beginning of your, so I think the key is to understand what you led you to the founding moment. And that's why it'll be good to cover some of your story. It'll be nice if you can start early and say, uh, the critical moments in your life that
Sure.
led you to the founder journey. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'll give you a give some. I think Pragati knows a little bit, but I'm one guy who gets bored very easily. Okay. So that has been my problem from my childhood. That I get bored. I'll buy toys, play, destroy. I recently bought a cycle, did cycling for a bit, and then no, I don't want to do cycle. So I get bored. And that is how. So I'm a computer engineer from professional, and I used to believe during my days of 2006-7, I was a very good in development. Again, one of the only person who got promoted within a year in TCS. But then I got bored within 2 years. It's like I don't
Got
want to
bored
do.
of coding?
I got bored of it, and like I can't do this for rest of my life. So decided to do an MBA. I am Mumbai at that time, and then did MBA. I joined a large FMCG company as the campus placement, and that was one of the most boring job I have ever done. Very typical Sarkari, slow moving, large conglomerate. So they generally tend to move very slow. And there was no concept of startups sort of thing in 2010 at least. Everyone was looking for large companies, and everyone was happy in my family that I've joined this large company. And then within a couple of months, I realized that this is not the place. I can't move this slowly in my life. And Amazon was unknown, had not launched business in India. And even in US or Europe, Amazon was a very, very small company. So that was truly a startup of US at that time. They were hiring for people in the product side to be shifted to US. So they were hiring for US business, but they were hiring in India because US was short on talent. They
This
reached
is
out to 10.
2010.
Yeah, right. So they reached out. I had never heard about Amazon. So I learned about it. I said, okay, maybe there's a new startup which is coming in US. Let's join there. Maybe in a couple of years, we'll come back to a stable job. So this is not going to be a stable job, at least in my head.
Okay.
So that's how I joined. I wanted to try something new, which will keep me engaged and not bored. So I joined Amazon, and that's how my Amazon journey started. As I joined in December, March, I was in US. So within 3 months, trying to figure out what US business is doing. Then they somehow felt that I will be a better suited guy for Europe. So they moved me to Europe. Then I think after fixing Europe, they also realized, okay, he's a guy who can fix things. And China was not working. So they said, fix China. So I fixed China. China got wrapped up. So Amazon exited China after that.
Yeah, I know that story.
Right. So China was just not working out. So we decided one of my recommendation as well as the whole team's recommendation was China is not going to work for you. Wrap it up. We moved back largely to Euro business and then US business. Uh, uh, so one of the good thing about Amazon, then you would have guessed by now that I am not staying at any place more than 2 years. Right? And this is true for my city journey also. I have never stayed in a city for more than few years. I generally move cities every few years. So Amazon gave that option to move teams. That is one of the company which is very open for you moving team, function, anything, geography. As long as you are performing, you can move. And that's the reason then I ended up spending almost 12 years in Amazon. But I did
Huh.
6 roles in Amazon. So you can again average is 2 years still.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to ask that. Like, yeah, as someone who is like so impatient, how did you stay there for like
Yes,
12 years? Yeah, now I
the
understand.
six. So, multiple countries, multiple teams. I did supply chain, I did product, I did business, I did in stock, I did operations.
Agreed
And
operation.
in terms of businesses, I have led Amazon Fashion, I have led Amazon Hardlines, I have led Amazon Consumables, I have launched Amazon Fresh. So multiple businesses in multiple capacity, and that's what kept me. And that journey was phenomenal. I learned a lot. The company kept me engaged. If it was not for the other reason that I started my startup, and we'll come to that, I would have stayed put in Amazon because that is an organization truly appreciated the talent it could retain and the challenges it could present. It was just relentless. That was another thing, and one of the things which Pragati was initially facing. It's relentless. You have to be in the tortoise and a rabbit race. You have to be rabbit, and you cannot take a pause.
Yeah.
So a rabbit without a pause. So you're winning races, but non-stop.
Yeah, it's quite intense.
Right?
That's
So
what I
that's
faced.
how it happened. And then so I was in US with my family. I was running hardlines business for Amazon US. Approximately $8 billion of business was under me. The US toys and whole merchandising and Disney and some of these large visible Disney and Universal were the large two accounts, almost $1 billion each. Those accounts and everything from the business perspective, and was about to have our first kid. And that was a time my father in India was diagnosed with cancer. So they were supposed to travel to US to support us during the delivery time and initial phases of parenthood. But during the final checkup, medical checkup, before they could book their tickets and everything, he was diagnosed with cancer. And that was a moment for the first time I really gave a thought to our food habits, that what we are eating, how it is grown. Because my father, unlike me, he's a teetotaler, never had any smoke, never touched tobacco, never eaten outside as well. General typical lower middle class person who has always eaten at home. Physically, he was very fit because he didn't even have a bike or a car. They were always riding on cycle. So most probable root cause was probably food, right? Pesticides and chemicals in the food. And that was the first time I
This
personally
is
gave,
which year?
this is
This is-
2015.
Okay, you were still at Amazon. You were
I was still at Amazon Seattle, right? So of course we couldn't move also immediately because my wife was in her last trimester during that time. So we had a son, and then immediately after that, as soon as he was allowed to travel, we shifted back to India to take care of him and everything. And that was the time I had so the decision to do something in food industry was taken in 2015. But at that point of time, I didn't know what, how, and when. But decision was taken that I want to do something, and next 4 5 years almost. So Prakriti, you may not know this, but this was not an abrupt decision for me to start a company which is focused on healthy food. This was a decision taken in 2015. I moved to India with that mission, but I didn't know what, right? And we have no background, no family history of agriculture or anything. So of course, I know nothing about agriculture. Right? Yes.
Oh,
I thought you had family history and you were
No,
just going back to
no,
that.
no. We belong to a business family. Traditionally, we have had those typical Lala shops in towns, and that's how we've grown. So that decision was taken. I moved back to India. He recovered well from cancer, went through all the surgery and everything, but I couldn't figure out what I want to do. So kept on working, kept on accumulating knowledge as well as money because it took also financial support to take a decision like that. And over the year, I realized that if we were to do a pesticide-free journey in food, it has to start with agriculture. It cannot be like a lot of brands, they claim that we are processing food, we are not adding preservatives. That is a second stage. But your food already has preservatives and pesticides at the growing stage itself. So that was a time I kept learning. Hydroponic was one of the new technologies which was picking pace worldwide. India was still nowhere in the picture, but worldwide it was picking pace. It's a technology which has been there for thousands of years, but has been developed in the new modern way by Israel in the 2010 decade. So it's very recent from that perspective.
2010.
2010, yes. So started
sorry,
learn.
Chandan. Sorry to interrupt. Like I thought, like you covered a lot of ground, and I had a few
Yes,
questions. Maybe I
sure,
thought,
sure.
like let's unpack before we move into hydroponic. One thing is about, say, as an engineer doing MBA and moving into business, right? Like tech to business shift, right? Because this is a question I used to think when I was in my early years of career and decided against it. So for someone who's wanting to pivot from tech into product slash business roles, would you recommend MBA as a direction?
MPA does help. It does help in my head in two ways. One, techie mindset is very different. I've been techie, you've been techie. It's very mathematical in nature. It's very methodological, right? Plus B equals to C. And then every time A plus B will make it C.
Is
Because
C.
that's what
Yeah.
coding has taught us. That's what
Yeah.
mathematical.
Yeah.
MBA sort of gives you on the in the education front that there are lot many variables which can change. So A plus B doesn't mean C always. And you learn those softer aspects of businesses, softer aspect of human nature in MBA, which you can do in the job as well. And there are many engineers who have been extremely successful managers and product managers without doing an MBA. It just helps you reach there faster. And second is more from a short-term career management perspective. Fortunately, a lot of companies have decided that they want to hire manager cadre from MBA crowd. So it gives you that platform. Again, not saying it's a 100% right or wrong, but it's a shorter way of doing this because they also want to filter out
Yeah. Yeah.
someone from the crowd.
But yeah, as a person thinking, yeah, this the perspective on how to approach, right? Yeah, the systemic thinking versus
Yes.
the number of variables that are not in your control. The topic
Yes.
we used to talk about, right, Pragati? Yeah, so I think
Yeah.
understanding that, digesting that, are hard.
It's hard.
Yeah,
Even today,
yeah,
you can never, as a human, it's a human nature, right? We believe we put in hard work, results will come. It's not necessarily true. It increases your probability of getting a result, but doesn't make you will get results. Right? So that's what sort of MBA taught me. Right? I used to think as a Karaki because it's hard coded language. I was a developer in .NET. You write a loop, it will always run. Right? You write it for up to 10, it will run for 10. So life doesn't work that.
yeah. But in the world we are entering now, the code is also becoming stochastic, as to say.
Yes.
So yeah,
And that is why it is called artificial intelligence or
yeah.
machine learning, right? Because it's learning from human nature.
Okay,
Interesting.
cool. Cool. And I can relate a lot to what you said about like being impatient, switching jobs, switching
Yeah,
places and
Bala,
all that. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
will be
So,
friends
so
outside.
yeah. No, the question I was going to ask is like, so at Amazon, you wear all these hats, right? So again, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And how do you look at all these different roles? And did you have favorite roles? Are there things that you didn't like if you were to talk about it?
and yeah, I am just to add on that, right? My question is a little bit related to this. It's more that, you were in a way, you're going and establishing a business in a country, right? Like you're going to Europe, you're going to China. So there is an element of establishing something new, even while you are in an established organization. So is there something that you learned from there or you picked up from there, which actually helped you later? Like those kind of things also would want to cover, but we can see where you want to cover.
Sure, sure. So you're right. I'll start, sorry, with Pragati, but you're right. Even in Amazon, most of the time, my role was entrepreneurial, right? Most of the times I have set up the team which I was leading, including my last role in supply chain. That was a team which was built by me, created by me. So that's something which we've done. Now, coming to Bala, I think everyone has different way of working. Everyone is unique, and that's the beauty of human nature. There are people who want to become super specialized and become like expert of one particular thing, right? And they know in and out of that. The depth that they have on that subject matter is phenomenal. And that is strategy in general is called, inch wide and mile deep. So there are enough number of people who like to do that and they've been very successful in their respective field. I'm slightly different kind of person. I used to be wider in my understanding. I was to learn different things. That's what keeps me engaged. And it goes back to my nature about getting bored very easily because before you go a mile deeper into a subject matter, I'm generally bored by then because I know enough that I feel my learning pace is slowing down. So that's a different, and again, there are many people like that, and they have been phenomenally successful. So I think each one has its pros and cons. There are people, there are engineers in Google's, Amazon, Microsoft who have been doing that particular thing for 20 years and they are expert in that. And there are people like me who did 6 things in 10 years and they are successful like that. Each has its own sort of learning, own sort of output which satisfies. It depends on you as a person what gives you more satisfaction. And one of the reason why I did MBA because I thought that big difference from me to engineer to MBA. MBA will give me that opportunity. And I always thought that as an engineer, it will be very difficult for me to keep trying new things because you can't keep learning new technologies that quickly. Management is easier from that perspective.
Got it. Got it. And for a founder, yeah, so this is the whole specialist versus generalist thing,
Yes.
right? And for a founder, you think being a generalist is an advantage?
I think so. And the reason is, and it could backfire as well, but why I think so is because you know a little bit about everything. And when you are a founder in any type of organization, you typically have all the functions in your company, right? You will have tech, you will have operations, you will have supply chain, you will have customer service, you will have HR, you will have finance. As a generalist, you generally are dangerous enough for each of the functions because you know enough about it. Right? For most part, a specialist can become slightly skill bound from that perspective. Someone who has never ran a finance team and you are a startup founder, and then your CA is telling you 5 different ways why your tax is so high, and you're not able to make a sense out of it, right? And a lot of founders fail in that, and they find a solution. And typically, you will see a specialist founder will have a team member who is of the opposite skill. So they solve it by building a team of specialists in different functions, right? But I believe a generalist role gives an edge because you can at least know something about everything. And typically, you'll see even in the large corporate general advice for everyone who is going, they will have some sort of skill set diversification required before you become a senior leader in any organization, right? And they will call it differently. Amazon used to call it BOT, business operations technology. So for you to become a senior leader, you should have experience at least in two of these three skills. So you should have been a business leader or an operations leader or a technology leader. If you are at least two of these, then you are eligible to become a senior leader. Otherwise, you're not.
Right.
So even large corporates encourage that because they know when you're becoming a senior leader, even if you're a technology leader, you will have the business aspect of your team. You will have operations aspect of your team. So they want.
Interesting. We might have a lot of people in the tech background who might be feeling bad about this situation.
Amit, who was the CEO of Amazon India, was a techie. He never ran business. He was an exception. He was an exception. He was given a business role directly to run India. That was his first business role.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, then he, backfilled. He knew his shortcomings, so he hired very strong business leaders.
Yeah. But because, say, like I said, I relate a lot to you. And I used to think of this as a weakness that, hey, I'm not going too deep into a specific thing. And I also think about this macro versus micro thinking, right? I think it's sort of, I don't know how are these two related, but I feel that if you are a macro thinker, you are more of a generalist and vice versa. Yeah.
No, but I think Pala, it's different. I think some people take or understand this incorrectly. So we should clarify. By being journalist doesn't mean you know only the cursory thing about other things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I was giving that example of any large corporate. When they say you should have been a business leader, doesn't mean that you have done business for 2 months. It means you have literally run a large business unit for a couple of years. When you're a technology leader, to be called a technology leader, you would have run a technology team for few years and build something large. So when we say generalist, it still doesn't mean you are at the surface. It just means that you are building multi-skill set, maybe not going a mile deeper, but going half a mile deeper into two, three things. So not at the first level, you are at least cutting through multiple layers and you know enough about it that you can run the business or the team. Right? So generalist doesn't mean half knowledge. It just
Yeah.
means you have good knowledge about.
So actually, like, kind of in the same board. I don't know how like three of us and landed in this room and all of us are generalists. I also have this fear that so I started my journey in business analysis, like when actually started in market research, then being an analyst. Then I went into a startup where I wore a lot of hats like data science and product management and operations. Sometimes I was calling customers, so I was also a calling associate. And then I went to Amazon where I did product management. And in terms of the sectors also, right? Like there is financial services and the Amazon I was in, I mean supply chain. So I used to also feel sometimes, that is there something wrong with me that I am just like doing so many things and I'm just like people will ask me that like do you not why don't lady just make your mind like just do one thing at least. So but I have felt that because I come from all that, and recently actually I have realized it when I started working on my own idea, right? When I was looking at solving some problem, I could actually relate back to some work that I did in my market research role. Then there was some work that I did in my data science role. Then there was some work that I actually product management is very new, so that itself is something that I'm doing. And then there are like little bit pieces here and there which I recall from like all the things that I have done over the years, which makes me feel that it's not that like I'm too bad. Like it has been a successful journey overall. So yeah,
You learn in everything.
yeah.
Bala, you were saying what was the role that you didn't like or like the most, right? What I liked the most about the role that I didn't like or I hated was that those are the roles which gives you the maximum amount of learning. Because the biggest learning for me, which I believe is very important for any founder, in fact, for anyone to be successful in life, is how to deal with bad people, people whom you don't like. And bad doesn't mean they are absolute bad, right? They're bad for you. It's just not working out between you two, right? It's a business relationship, it's a client relationship, it's a manager subordinate relationship. Typically, a bad role will have one element of some of these things. Either your manager is bad, your team is bad, your client is bad, your partner is bad in business. Something is bad because that's why you're not liking the role as much. Skill to manage that bad relationship, survive there for the amount of time you survived, and then find a way to get out and is very critical for a founder because you can, as a founder, I can't be choosy. You know, if if a person whom I hated is my biggest client or biggest customer, I can't say no to him or her, right? And they will complain, they will shout at you, they will write bad reviews, they will escalate. You will still smile, fix the problem, and move on. Right?
So what's your advice? Like, how do you deal with
These
people that
situations.
you are not comfortable with?
So as I said, like it's when you start to believe that belief in your head that this is a learning phase for you. This is what will make you successful for your next role. And I'm not saying do that forever. Don't be stuck in a role or with a manager whom you don't like. But still, whatever duration you are there, learn about how to avoid it also in the future.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
You ठोकरों से सीख जाते हो. So you learn from those things that okay, now this time I got into it. Next time I will be more careful. I will do this due diligence also that I need to check for these 5 parameters as well before accepting a role or before starting something.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
once you make that mind that yes, I'm here for short term. I'm not going to spend my life here, but within that 1 year, 2 year, whatever time you spend here, I learn and move on. Then it becomes easier for you to absorb. It's all mind training. Once you tell your mind that this is going to pass and you will learn from it, you're mentally at peace because there is an end date to it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is what we were taught in Vipassana.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
is it?
Yes. It's all same thing. It's just about applying that in life. I think most of these things are written in some form, in several books. It's just applying. When I joined my first job and I saw the culture in that company, this I can't survive here. While I'm making good money and everything. But I gave an end date to me. I said maybe I'll survive here for a year, and then after a year I'll find Luckily, Amazon reached out and I could exit it sooner, but I would have anyway left after a year. So I was mentally at peace that I need to spend an year so that it doesn't look bad that you left your first job within a year, but still I left within 3 months.
Yeah, actually, that kind of brings me to one more question, right? And a lot of people talk about this that when people move companies in a short intervals, right? 1 year, 2 year, or whatever. People often fear that, if I move a company within 1 year, it would be on my resume, and then people would think that, I have not committed myself to this company. What are the chances I'll commit to the next? There's always this like fear at the back of the mind when you are switching. While you feel that this is the right thing for me to do because this is not an environment that I would want to be, but people force themselves to be in that environment because the industry thinks that way.
Mhm.
Now that, like, I think we have, I mean, you guys are more senior than me, but like we are in more senior positions. Do you think that the trend is changing, or do you think like people still think like that, or do you think there is an opportunity for people like us to educate that moving often is not really a bad thing, or is it a bad thing? I just wanted to pick your brain on this.
First, I want to say I'm not old. Don't call me oldie. I'm not senior. Okay. Bala maybe, not me. I still have more black hair.
Okay, we are all same age.
Okay, but I think so. It's difficult to judge for anyone whether it is a good thing or a bad thing because what you are trying to do as a if you are the hiring manager or the line manager, you're trying to create a persona of the candidate when the resume is in front of you, right? And that persona when it says that this is a guy who jumps the ship every year, generally it's a bad indicator. Generally. Now, there will be valid reasons, and I think the industry has evolved enough and managers have evolved enough that while it gives a perspective, it's not a 0 or 1 situation, right? They are not rejecting based on that. Most of the people, as long as the profile is good and fits their skill set, they invite for the interview, and that is going to be a question about regarding this, right? To ask, why did you as long as you have a valid answer, convincing answer, even if you have shift jobs twice in a year, and I have had hired people who shifted twice in 1 year, right? But I believe their reasons and the skills was good. You hire them, but it has that persona creation about
So
it,
it's
and
about like if you have valid reasons for that, then it's a story that counts actually.
it's a reasoning behind that, right? If you say it has stopped a little bit now, but there was a time during my engineering days that people were switching between TCS, Infosys, Adobe, CSC, HCL. These were the set of companies which were very active in India during that time. Every year, because if you stay within TCS, the general hike is 10%, 12%, 15%. But if you switch, you get a 30, 40% hike. Then after a year, you switch again. Right? So this has become a trend, and of course, it's a negative thing. It was driven by these companies that they were not uh, sort of rewarding their top talent enough. Right? So it goes both ways. But yeah, I think that has stopped mostly. Now there is a very clear demarcation in every organization to reward the top talent and not reward the other talent, rather than just a peanut butter spread, which used to happen.
Yeah, I think it still happens, at least in Bangalore. People do this even in the startup world. But yeah, I think I also agree with Chandan. The reasons are the key. They are genuine. And if you are able to understand and appreciate the reasons, yeah.
Money cannot be a primary reason. Can be a reason, which is okay. Money is very important. But switching every time for money generally is not because money uh, is uh, not a stable motivating factor. It's a motivating factor which works only for a short term,
Which works only
for a very short period.
okay. Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking about it. Like, once you get into the job, your offer letter is signed, like 1 month into it, you've totally forgot about how much you're being paid.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah. That's what I tell in my whatever the salary revision meetings. Okay, when we walk out of the room, we forget about this. Like, yeah. Let's move on.
I think we covered the Amazon, switching within Amazon part a little bit. I do want to also cover some element of how you came about like establishing India business when you were in Amazon. while the idea of doing something in agriculture was still cooking. Because that is very interesting to me that you started thinking about this in 2015 when you were not even here, and then you moved here and you were establishing the business here while you were also learning on the side. So how did you do all that? Like, and you spent considerable amount of time doing the both things. How did you manage?
I used to say this thing. I think some of my team members have heard about it. Hard working for things that you don't like gives you stress. Hard work for the things that you like or love is passion, right? When you're passionate enough for something and you're liking it, you don't get tired. You sleep less, you find time, you know, because you're happy about it, right? I can play cricket for whole day because I love it. I can get tired. I may not get up next day, but I will still play for the whole day, right? So similarly, when I was learning about it, I was just passionate enough to learn about it that with the Amazon long hours, I was still able to find time, if not every day, that sometime during weekends, or sometimes during the night or the day, to keep learning. Because our most difficult part for 15, 16, and some part of 17 was that we didn't know what we are learning, right? I was still trying to figure out what I want to do. So I was just Googling it out, right? Just learning several things. I started from food processing. My first idea was to set up a large scale freezing cold storage unit for raw food. Then the idea transformed and said, let's do farming. So a lot of things. I learned a lot about, I know enough about cold storage setup, which many of us will never know, but I never set up. So far, we have not yet set up. But I learned all about it, almost got a loan approval also from the bank and everything, and then shared the idea, right? So it was more about exploring what to learn. And then Amazon, again, I was loving what Amazon was doing in India, right? I joined when I came back to India, I was tasked to set up Amazon's offline business, fashion business. And as you can very well guess from my t-shirts and if you can see my jeans, I am not a fashion guy. I have three colors of t-shirt. It was very challenging for me to figure out how fashion business runs. I built the whole team. I think when I came to India, there were 7, 8 people in the whole team, and within a year we were 100 plus people, right? So build the whole team. Went back to the things which I was saying. This was a skill which I did not have. Then we went in the industry and hired the experts of those. Someone who knows fashion, someone who knows women fashion, someone who knows jewelry, someone who knows jeans. We went to Levi's, hired their manager. We went to Titan, hired their manager, right? We did all that because that's the skill which we were lacking. But then you as a leader was still knew the science behind business. So the whole business kept it together. So that was also very exciting for me, right? So I was not getting stressed out, let's be honest. And hence 12, 14 hours in office, were very happy. Coming back to home, playing with my son, he was 1 year old, and then learning about something new for another couple of hours was still not very hectic. It got hectic when I got bored, right? But till the time it was new and exciting and we were building up the whole business, it was extremely peaceful, right? From that perspective, which doesn't seem like, but was very peaceful. I was very
Yeah, I
happy.
mean, spending like 15 hours in a day working.
It's okay. It doesn't give you stress if you like the work.
Yeah, very interesting. Now will be a good segue into the hydroponics startup. Yeah. So yeah, why hydroponics?
Yeah. So during, as I said, right, during my exploration of what we wanted to do, and the objective was clear that we wanted to do something to make food safe again. Right? Simple objective. And this was a joint thinking between me and my younger brother. Okay. And we are the two co-founders of the company as well. That how to make food safe again. And that's when we explored a lot of ideas. Maybe preservative is the reason. So let's solve it by using cold storage, better technology in cold storage and everything. Then slowly we realize, no, it's at the growing stage. And then we dig deeper into why a farmer would use harmful chemical on any crop. No one will do that intentionally. And I don't know how many of us know that, but there are 11,000 odd deaths, 11,000 farmers die uh, during every crop cycle because of pesticides that they use. on their crop and they die because of the overusage, right? In
Because
India.
they're exposed to those
So they are
chemicals.
exposed to those chemicals. So,
Wow.
so we get almost 22 to 33,000 deaths every year. So nobody's gonna do that willingly. There are reasons for them to do this. There are pest attacks. There are soil deficiencies. There are natural calamities, rain, summer, winter. All these things, they force a poor farmer to use chemicals which he doesn't want to use, but he doesn't have an option. And hence, we need to bring in better technology in the farming itself, which can enable you to do that. And that's when the protected farming culture sort of setup came to us, right? And said, if we cover our farm in a physical greenhouse, 92% of pests are stopped by it, right? Which are typically of flies, butterfly, grasshoppers. These are your most prominent pests. They're stopped. You have shut doors for them. And then rest of the pests come via soil. So just going through the structured thingy.
Yeah.
92% of pests are still there, but we don't want to use any pesticides. So we have to find solution for remaining 8, 9%, which are typically soil driven. So then you remove soil from the mix. Then last type of pesticides are fungicides, which are used for fungal infection, which again comes from soil. So you remove soil. Now you are within a closed environment without soil, trying to grow things. That's hydroponics. So hydroponics like literally means water at works, which means you're removing soil, supplying nutrients and keeping the roots wet via water. And thus you removed all sort of most common pest attacks. So almost 99.99% you are pest free. And when you are pest free, we don't have to use pesticide. Why will we spend money on pesticides when we don't need it? Right? So it's not like uh, we are getting pest attack and we are not using pesticides.
Hmm.
We have built the setup so that we don't get pest attacks, and hence we don't have to use pesticides.
So the purpose of hydroponics is that, or if this is an added benefit of doing hydroponics?
So I think the original purpose of hydroponics, how it started worldwide, was to grow food in desert because soil is not there. So that's what they devised this, and that's why Israel was one of the early adopters of this technology. Because one, they did not had a lot of land, and then whatever land was there was all arid, and they wanted to grow food. So they invested heavily into building this new or refining this old technology. This existed for thousands of years, as they said, but it was not refined to the new age way. So they refined it during that time and made it commercially available. How to grow things, and hence it is started. Now, pesticides free. So, okay, let me clarify. Hydroponic does not mean pesticide free. People can use pesticide in hydroponics, and many people use because they get pest attack. There are leakages in the system. They may not have built a good polyhouse or a greenhouse. They may still be getting fungal infection, and they use pesticide. So hydroponic is not doesn't mean pesticide free. Hydroponic means soil free, but doesn't mean pesticide free. What we have built is soil free, pesticide free, and closer to city, so that we don't have to store. We are not using any preservatives. We will not keep it in the cold storage. It's going to be harvested and delivered to you within 24 hours. That's something which we have built as a company, right? Right? Hydroponics has nothing to do with it. It can be done otherwise as well, right? So that's how we have done. And it sort of goes by the reason or the mission that we had, right? Otherwise, we could do at the commercial scale, right? I don't know how many of you know there's a recent thing. You must be reading all this space exploration thing which is ongoing. So recently they are planning, or the whole overall plan was to send a large set of people to ISS, right? International Space Station. Must have read that much. Now the problem with that is sending a large number of people, that sending that much of food for a long duration is very expensive. Literally, you have to send another rocket with it. So one rocket will carry the passenger, another rocket will carry the food. Right? So it's so expensive. Now NASA has started using hydroponics to grow food in ISS, at ISS. So they are able to grow food inside a space station. It's not full scale yet, right? But they're growing, and that's what they're then starting to explore or scale to say this is what we will use to feed people we are sending from India, right? So we don't have to send food with them. They can
Yeah.
just carry the seeds and we'll grow it here.
Is it working? I mean,
It's working so
I don't
far.
know. Okay.
If you Google space station hydroponics or space station NASA crop, you will find those videos. They've shown how they're growing and how it's working. Of course, as I said, right, there are still things for them to figure out, but I'm pretty sure the problem is there is no other way they can grow it. So they will figure it out.
So you are creating the food from space.
It's again, see, space is similar thing than what we have in cities, right? Today we are in metro cities. I am in Delhi. Some of you are in Bangalore. Some of you are in UK. These cities do not have a space to grow, right? We have run out of space in metropolitan cities. Food grown far away has its own challenges. Transportation damages, cost of transportation, and sometimes just the availability of things, right? So drawing a parallel here, if we were to if we were to grow food within 100 kilometers of metropolitan cities, hydroponics is one of the known technologies now which can do this. And our farms follow that strategy. We have at least 6-7 acres of farms within 100 kilometers of Delhi. Similarly, in Bangalore, we have within 100 kilometers, we have another 8-9 acres of hydroponic farm. So they're able to reach to customer within few hours. Transportation cost is not that high, and the freshness is, of course, getting it from far away is gonna take a toll. And then you are forced to use preservatives if you were to carry products from long distance.
So I have like a lot of technical questions, but
Yes,
I will ask a few and like then move on to your journey. So one is on the cost. Cost wise, is it efficient compared to the regular farming? Because otherwise you can't scale this, isn't it? Whatever the cost per acreage or that. Second is on the nutrient side. Is there any compromise you have to do here?
sure. The reason why hydroponics has not scaled in India as much is because of cost. Currently, the initial setup cost is very high for hydroponic setup. As I said, like you need a physical greenhouse or a poly house to be constructed. It's a very expensive affair. For a normal farmer, it's sometimes unviable. So we have to look at it in two aspects. One, the setup cost, and second is the operational cost. On setup cost, it is very expensive. On operations cost, however, it is extremely cheap because you're not doing tilling of soil. You don't need a tractor. You don't need heavy labor. It's very easy to manage, maintain the farm. No labor required. Three people can operate 1 to 2 acre of farm very easily, which is generally not possible in soil farming, right? But the initial setup cost is very high. Now, what government has done, Indian government has done over last 2 years, this is after we have started, they have started identifying this as one of their focus area and started providing support. And we are now an officially recognized vendor or a company for them. For instance, government is providing up to 50% subsidy on the setup cost. So the setup cost is suddenly half for you
Nice.
as someone who is setting it up. Until last year, loans for the setup were issued at 9% or 10%, whatever was the ongoing rate. As of last year, Q4, again, government has issued a 3% interest subvention for Agriculture Innovation Fund. So it's called AIF, Agriculture Innovation Fund. As long as you are an approved company, which for instance we are, and there are many more companies which are approved, you get a 3% interest subvention. So today, for instance, you can, as a farmer, you can get a loan at 6% instead of 9%. So 6% is even lower than what FD is giving you as a return, right? So these are the schemes which government is bringing to support more and more people to come into this. Is it enough? No. Is it a right step? Yes. I think more innovation will happen, more support will happen. And as this become a mass production thing, I think the cost of setup will also come down. So right now, cost of setup is high because a lot of parts are imported. For example, the fans that we have in our farm are imported from Italy. because no company in India is making 1.5 HP fan. That size of fan are not available in India. But I think once the scale reaches to a level, there are enough number of fan manufacturers in India who will start making it. So the cost of setup will also come down.
Got it. Yeah.
So
Okay.
Chandan here,
Now on the sorry, just completing, Pragati,
Sure, sure.
on the nutrient front, I just want to clarify, and again, you will see different claims in the social marketing life. No one fact checks these claims. There is no difference between a hydroponically grown cucumber and a normal cucumber. If it has 2% or 2 gram of protein, this will also have 2 gram of protein. 5 gram of sugar, it will also have 5 gram of sugar. However, the difference is going to be on the things which your regularly grown cucumber will have, which hydroponically grown cucumber does not have, which are all the chemicals, which are all the heavy metals. So another problem that we identified with soil, and we get our product tested every half yearly or annually, because the soil and water is so polluted right now. Again, talking about developed cities like Delhi, Bangalore, so much of pollution that if you are ordering cucumber along with all the nutrients, it also has a very high amount of arsenic and methyl mercury with it, right? Which is coming from soil. No farmer is going to add methyl mercury. Farmer doesn't even know what is methyl mercury. It's just coming from the soil because soil is polluted, and water and any plant will absorb it. It will come to cucumber. It will then go to your body, and you will absorb it by removing soil and by removing polluted water. By the way, we use 100% RO water in our farming. So by removing polluted water, these are the things which are not there, and hence it makes it healthier because you are not getting things which you don't want. But whatever
Understood.
things you want are in the same proportion. People claim it's not true. Everything else is in the same proportion.
okay. So it's basically everything good minus the bad things.
Yes. But good is same. You know, I have seen some hydroponics companies and some other organic companies claiming that our product has more this. It's not.
Sure. So, I mean, I think we spent some time on hydroponics business. I also want to like go a little bit like into the mindset when you were actually, setting this up. Like, how did you think about, because it looks like this is still something which people are like starting to do. So you probably are early in this sector.
Yes.
How did you think about people that you would need to like set up this kind of a thing? Like, is there any co-founder that you have, and how did you go about looking for a co-founder, or if you have a team that, like, how did you think about that? So I wanted to get a little bit on like general setting up a journey of this and what you were thinking at that point,
So you want all the secrets.
because that is what we want.
Okay. I think it's more for any early stage startup. I think what you look for is aptitude than the hard skills, right? When you look for a co-founder, when you look for the core team to come with you look for the right aptitude, the right thinking, and the thought process that I will get the things done. And on the business front, founder who is getting into anything new, he or she has to do the heavy lifting on launching this subcategory. And I'll give you the example. When we launched, very few people knew about hydroponics. And I'm not talking about customer, I'm talking about uh, people who are running the retail business, right? Amazon, Blinkit, Zepto, BigBasket. So with the exception of BigBasket, for instance, no one had a subcategory called hydroponics on their app. I had to spend days and days convincing them during my early years of this business to launch hydroponics as a subcategory. And luckily, we were successful. So today, if you see, most of the apps have hydroponics as a subcategory. And that was all launched by us. And in the cities we are present, we are the exclusive partner with them as a result. But it took a lot of time, and this is not something you can outsource to your team. This is something which a founder has to do because it won't happen in a day. It's a very hard work. It requires a lot of work at their end, which they don't want to do. It's not a big business yet for them to focus on it, right? So hence you're convincing them to do hard work for a business which is not gonna give them or make their KPIs, right? As a business leader, but you're convincing them because you are passionate about it You're convincing them because you want to share that passion, and generally these things are infectious, right? So if you are passionate about it, when you talk to someone, you infect that guy.
Yeah.
So and that an employee can't do. So hence, this is a heavy lifting which a founder has to do. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, like, I mean, double clicking on Pragati's question, that this is more on the go to market business development side. On day zero, how do you get things off the ground? How did you raise money? What is the team you built? What was the size of the land? The first few days, first few months journey will be interesting, because you know how to build a tech startup, right? You build a product, you whatever, do your
Yes.
landing page tests and all that, but this is a very different kind of a business, so
Yes.
it'll be good to understand the aspects that are involved.
I think for anyone who is getting into startup, especially a startup which has physical goods movement, actual physical goods, not a digital startup. The most important thing is to align your family that you're going to get into it, because it's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of money. So when I started thinking about it, very first thing was for me to convince my wife that I'm going to do this, right? And it will just undo a lot of things that we have done, right? Whether it is your bank balance, whether it is the time I was spending with my kids or with you or your vacations, it's going to undo a lot of or pause a lot of these things for a long time. And then you take an assessment of your financial situation. You cannot go crazy. You have to run your family. Every founder typically has a family, right? So it's difficult. Today we say when we are setting up a farm, new unit for us is minimum 1.5 acre, right? But my first farm uh, in 2020 was 1/8 of an acre, right? So we are
Okay.
saying minimum size which we touch today is 1.5 acre, but we started with 1/8 of an acre because that's what the budget allowed us to do. That's what we were willing to take risk of, right? If it fails, it fails. It's not gonna make me bankrupt. It's not gonna make me not feed my kids.
You, you
So
didn't
that's
you didn't raise any external money
no,
before launch,
no,
is it?
no,
Okay.
we didn't. So we did this bootstrap from day one. It was on purpose. It was on purpose, right? To be honest, for this particular startup, if you ask me, 2020, was I sure that this is gonna work? I was not, and I come from a family who treats money as one of the most valuable thing because we didn't had and we were. So I didn't want to take risk with anyone else's money. I just feel ashamed that if I take someone else's money and fail, I will not be able to face them. So this was money which we earned, we put it and said we will run it. We will do it at a small scale. We'll figure it out. And once we are confident, then we will put more money and build large scale, but still we will put our money. We will raise funds at our business growth level, not for piloting the project or not for trying out things. And luckily, that's the strategy that we took. It makes me less guilty because if you still recall, that was the COVID time. So we launched the company and Delta variant came and we got into lockdown again. So I resigned from Amazon and next day was lockdown. So we shut down the company, like not literally, but we were forced to
Had
shut
to
down.
physically shut it down. Yeah,
It
yeah.
physically shut it down. So we launched the company. I had already resigned and we shut down for 6 months. So, and I was very happy that this is my money. I don't have to answer to anyone else. Right? So we started Bootstrap. We relaunched it in November 20, once everything started opening it up again. And we were not confident.
Feel in that moment when you were preparing for this moment, you resigned, you just like launched it, and suddenly there's an external thing which no one could think about, and your business is shut.
Remember what I said about tough situations? Once you put a timeline to it, you become happy. So, of course, to say that I was not stressed or I was not tensed for a bit is not true. I was tensed, right? Because I knew that my income is going to stop, and the company where I put in significant amount of my savings is shut down already, right? But again, I knew it's going to go away, right? Convinced myself. We had few loyal local customers. We launched with D2C. We had some customers. We didn't have a delivery boy. So I started to do delivery in my own car. Then I put my FSCCI license, food license on my car on the front windshield. So that basically it was essential services, right? As per the government rule. So if you
Correct.
have a food license, you are allowed to drive. So I pasted on my car window, both at the front and the back windshield, so that I can drive. And then I was delivering 3 orders, 4 orders a day, here and there, spending more money on diesel than the order value, but it was fun, right? But once you put a timeline, and this is how I believe, I said things will open up again, and if I'm not dead by then due to COVID, then this will open up and I will run the company. So I was
Yeah.
happy about it.
Did you say if I'm not what?
Dead.
Dead.
Dead by COVID.
People were dying in Delta, left, right, and
Yeah.
center.
I think so. The to have that confidence, I think I don't know. One key thing is your financial stability, right? Like you have to have your runway things
Yes,
sorted out,
yes.
isn't it?
Yes, you have to. So I think, as I said, I think Pragati might know my wife. I don't know. But so she's also an MBA and she was on maternity break, extended maternity break. So almost for 6 years. So once I decided to quit, she decided to join back. And just to make sure, and that was not the original plan, right? She was not planning to join back. Uh, b- just to make sure that there is enough operating income in the family not to stress out on the financial side. As I said, we don't have a family financial backing, right? We are not, we have enough money or enough land from ancestral that we can survive. No, whatever is there is something that both of us had earned over last 10, 12 years. So she took that decision and started earning. So our operating income is covered. And then this is my advice to every founder. I think you, within your bank balance, you have to earmark that this is what you're gonna bet with. Let me put it this way, right? Because you're betting, you don't know what you will be successful with, whether this will work, not work, right? So don't bet with 100% of your money and don't breach your threshold. It is going to seem enticing that you have come so far. Let me sell my house and do this also. That is the time when I think it may be a advice which a lot of other people may not like. But I think drawing a line to say that this is what I'm gonna spend and this is not something which I will touch for the business. That is the time if you want more money, then raise funds, which is what we did. So initial couple of CRs is something that I put in and my co-founders put in. And then we said, okay, now we need more money. At this stage, if you're convinced about the business that it is working, it's scaling, and it is the right thing for you to do, then my personal fear of taking someone else's money and failing is sort of subsided, right? I know it's going to be successful. Then go ask, raise funds, right? Go raise funds, go to angel investors, go to VCs, go to bank, take loan. If you're so confident about everything, you can find out many things. When we were scaling up and we ran into working cycle issue, working capital issue, we said okay, because we did not want it to dilute equity, we extended the credit line from bank because I knew I'm gonna make 10%. So giving 1% to bank per month is okay.
But you never took equity. You never took investments. It's only debt you took. Is it?
We then finally, once we were launching Bangalore in 2023, was the time then we took some equity investors, uh, right, and raise funds, uh, uh, a small amount of funds, but that's when we raised. So until 2023, it was bootstrap, and then we did some funds. Then again, till now, we have not raised funds, and now we are raising again because this is our time to grow. We see there is a hockey stick growth coming for us, and that will require some capital infusion.
And
If you
why?
can give us some, sorry. Yeah, Prati, go ahead.
Curious about the thought that I cannot take risk on someone else's money. I mean, yeah, I understand that thought process. When you are trying something, like so nowadays, like in industry, there's a norm, right? Like you thought about an idea, you go and pitch it to a VC, or you enter Y Combinator, and you get the money, and then you experiment on someone else's money, fails, works. People don't think so much. Is this about like I just wanted to understand your thought process.
No, it's again, everyone has different. I don't like to say someone is doing it in a wrong way. I also don't want to say I did it in the wrong way. right? This is my way. This was my values that I did not want it to fail on someone else's money. This is a bet that I took. And at least personally for me, and may not be true for anyone else, right? I believe by putting the amount of money that I put in from my own pocket, I had to make it work. I was just more into it. Saying it just cannot fail. Because if it fails, this is all my money. So I think it just forces me to not give up. And there are several places, several times in your life you want to give up, whether in your job, whether in your personal life, whether it is a startup, more on the startup side, right? You try, you want to convert a large client and you try it for 10 days and then they say no. You feel like quitting. You literally feel like quitting. Right? नहीं हो रहा है, not working out, right? You make a huge loss for that month, like, oh shit, this is not working, right? And you have to reaffirm, convince yourself to go back to work next day, even as a founder, because sometimes you feel like it's not working, and maybe it's not working, right? But I think by having more skin in the game, I think the brain works in a very different way, and then you know that you cannot fail.
This is
So
not
you will
skin in
get
the
up.
game. This is like body on the
Yeah,
line.
yeah. You get up and say, okay, this guy didn't work, maybe the other guy will work, right? So if
Yeah.
you go to his manager, her manager, uska subordinate, iska subordinate, you start pulling, so you pull strings, you do all sort of things to make sure it works because you have to make it.
I was going to ask about to understand the size of the business. Can you share some numbers on like, hey, how big it is, like what is like the growth, for us to get a sense of the business? Like any numbers, any metrics that you think are interesting to share.
Yeah, so I grew up in Amazon, right? As a corporate. So Amazon had a saying that focus on inputs, don't focus on outputs. So for instance, Amazon will in their business leadership reviews, they will not talk about revenues. They will talk about inputs to the revenue, how many customers you acquired, how many new customers you acquired, how many downloads of your app you had, and so on and so on. My company is also running in the same way. I want to run. So in trailing 12 months, we touched 1 million customers in India. So that's the input that I tend to believe that this is working.
That's a pretty good input.
Our customer retention on our D2C channel is above 70%, right? That's one of the best in the D2C industry. Our customer repeat rate on marketplace is 1.5 times of their category average. So just to elaborate, customer who is buying on Amazon fresh and customer who is buying our product on Amazon fresh, the second customer is making X more purchases than the first customer. So we are making money for Amazon, right? So
And you are on Amazon as well as Blinkit and BigBasket everywhere, is it?
we are almost everywhere. Swiggy, Spar, More, Amazon, BigBasket, Blinkit, a lot of small mom and pop shops, a lot of new startups that are coming, First Club and all these players. They carry our selection. So those are the inputs. In terms of growth, almost 2.5x growth year over year since last year. This year will be little slow, is what I forecast, because we ran out of capacity. So now we are building more capacity. We are absolutely out on our capacity. So we can't grow business right now. So our growth is stalled. So as I said, we are raising funds now because we need to build more capacity. So we are confident because we already have committed orders, but we are not able to fulfill. So as soon as we have capacity, we will fulfill those. So that's how we are looking. So I'm very confident raising funds at this time because I know it's already sold out, right? It's on back order.
And you are
What
in terms of the geography wise, like your presence is
Yeah.
across India.
So no, not yet. So we are operational in NCR. So all the four cities of NCR: Noida, Greater Noida, Delhi, Gurgaon, and Bangalore. So I am personally based out of Noida. I keep traveling between Bangalore and Noida. But these are the two geographies we are presently live. We are the only fresh brand in India which is present in two different regions.
Okay, I read somewhere that you are entering Mumbai. And
Yes, it's part of this fundraise.
okay,
It's
okay.
part of this fundraise. So money control and Z News covered us on that. That what I'm gonna do with this money.
Yeah, these are like everyday things for you, like news channels
नहीं
come and cover you.
नहीं, उन उनको न्यूज़ मसाला चाहिए। They are asking क्यों पैसा चाहिए? मुंबई जाना, okay.
Awesome. These are good numbers, Chandan. Congrats that on having these inputs are really great.
And how big is the team? How big is like the land to service this market?
So currently we are three co-founder slash core team. Me, my brother, and Santosh Srivastav. He's another industry veteran. He joined us slightly later in the journey. Ex Tata Steel and Tata Jules CEO. So he has also partnered with us. So that's the core team. Then we have approximately 7 managerial staff and then another 40 plus people in the team. Our tech is in-house. There is only one person in the tech, which is me. So tech is all outsourced. So I built the current website. I know Shopify is mostly plug and play, but was all completely built by me. And the app development, which is happening now, is outsourced.
Okay. So from a tech perspective, it is largely to do with the website and the app where you can place the orders.
Hmm.
Is there any other technology involved in this whole process?
That is something which we are building. In the process, it's not. But what we are building is a software to currently all the forecasting and everything is done in Excel, right? So automating the whole market trend, forecasting and crop planning, that's the software we are now investing in.
You mentioned hydroponics. It's a new industry for India. So
Mhm.
to get these people trained on this new tech, because you can't hire farmers and like make them do hydroponics, I believe. Yeah.
Mhm.
So who are these 40 people? How do you train them into this new domain?
So that credit goes to my younger brother Prakhar. He's the one. While I also did hydroponics training online and several YouTube and general media, but he's the one who is actually the expert, right? So in terms of our business as well, while I look for the business aspect of things, sales, marketing, tech, and everything, he's the one who is all the farms are under him. So he's the one who is owning the farm team and everything. And there are many people who are not in our payroll, right, for farms and everything. So we don't count them in our company, but they're operating the farms. But he's the supervisor. So he runs those farms. He's the expert on that. And we don't need everyone to be agri expert, right? Finally, it's a produce which is coming and then selling. So you also need a sales staff, which is any salesperson,
Yeah, yeah.
typically. You also need the operations staff, which is any warehousing and operations guy. You don't have to be expert in hydroponics. Hydroponics experts or farming experts are needed only for the farm business. And all those people are trained by Prakhar. We do hire agriculture graduate and postgraduate students, but then the final training is done by Prakhar.
And about customers, you're doing both D2C as well as marketplaces. Because again, this is like a new category. How do you educate? How do you convince that, like the kind of questions I was asking, right? Hey, is it
Yes,
healthy? Yeah.
yes,
Is
yes.
it bad? Right. So how do you educate about a new category to this whatever mass audience? Yeah. Yeah.
I think I also had this. Like, there is a lot of storytelling here, right? Because you are basically setting a trend. You are not entering a market which is already established or people are aware. You are also bringing that awareness. So how do you do that storytelling to your customers, even to like people that you work with, like your investors and others?
It's tough. That's the toughest part of my job, to be honest, right? Uh, uh, when I was entering, one of the feedback which a lot of my seniors or advisors gave that don't enter into something where you're building the category. Don't build the category. It's very, very hard. Build a brand, but don't build a category. But I wanted to do something and so just got into it. It's hard. As a strategy now, what we have adopted, a lot of our social media is not about sales, right? It's not about redirecting them to our sales channel or click here and get 20% discount and wallet recharge and all that, right? Our social media is actually almost solely focused on education, right? So we spend money on Instagram, on Meta, on Google, on education. Our website is also a very rich source of learning about hydroponics, learning about organic, learning about good food habits, good cooking habits. It's not about sales, right? So it's more content than just the sales. And maybe that's the reason why, while our other matrices, which I talked about, is very good, our spend to conversion rate is poor. because we don't look at it. We are not running ads on click here and order, right? We are running ads on why hydroponic is good. And you can choose to order from anyone. What we want to build is as a brand or as a category. Or Prakriti, you may be a Blinkit customer, Bala may be a Swiggy customer, I could be an Amazon customer. We are educating all three of us to say hydroponic is good, right? And then we want you to have free choice of your choosing to go order from anywhere else. And then we want to be omnipresent on the sales strategy side, right? So I do want to capture you as a customer, but not just D2C, right? You say, okay, you are a Blinkit customer, you please go and order from Blinkit. It's my product. You order from Amazon, it is still my product. You order from Reliance, it's still my product. You order from BigBasket, it's still my product.
Okay, so you're solving it from marketplace side.
Right.
Okay.
So solving
So
it
you're
from that
saying
perspective.
because of this, that the CAC metric won't look very interesting for you?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Right. So our CAC is almost as bad or as good as your average order value, right? Which is generally considered to be bad. But that's not what we're looking for, because we are like, we ran ads or we continue to run ads on saying you want 10 minutes delivery, go and order from Blinkit. That's not giving any revenue to me on D2C. I can't even measure CAC. We're redirecting traffic to Blinkit. But we are educating about hydroponics and saying, you want 10 minutes delivery, order here. You want this delivery, order from Amazon. You want this, order from us. It's not that we are not advertising our website, but we're doing mix of everything and want to make sure that we become a brand that people uh, identify with, rather than just a seller with people identify with, right? And hence, D2C is not our sole strategy or sole channel. It is important for us. It is very, very important. We continue to focus on it, but we also want to build the brand.
One last question on pricing.
Yes.
So, organic products are generally expensive. So, where are you in that spectrum of pricing?
Yeah. So this was the thing which I was not happy. And Prakhar was not very happy when we entered into. There was some players in hydroponics which were already live, very small players, but they were live. And they made hydroponics as a luxury, extreme luxury product, right? That who's and who's of the world can only buy. One of the basic thing again goes back to the mission that we had. We wanted to make food safe, and it doesn't help our mission if only a handful of Ambanis and Tatas are eating it, right? Then people like my father are not getting help. So one of the thing was that we wanted to benchmark our prices and wanted to make sure that we are at par, or if at all we are forced, we are slightly higher than the market price, right? And then go and fix your inputs to make sure it is still viable. So cut cost where you need to. Don't hire expensive salespeople. Don't spend a lot of money on marketing. Don't have Madhuri Dixit dancing for you on selling cucumbers. Don't do all that work. Focus on your core business. Make sure it is frugal. It's not cheap, but it's frugal, and hence pass on that value to your customer. So now, in short, most of our products for most of the time in the year are very, very competitive than the average product available in the market, because we want that customer to switch. If wallpaper on Amazon is available for 120 rupees, we price it within 125 within that price, because we want that customer to switch from unhealthy choices to a healthy choice, and we're still making money on that, so we're not losing
So,
money.
yeah, that's the question. So, I was going to ask, like, so on the unit economics front, even if it doesn't make sense today, but you have a path to
It makes sense today
it
as
makes sense
well.
today also.
So this is what I have done. I'm hardcore supply chain guy at heart, right? That cut cost in supply chain, be frugal, make it available. So we still are profitable. In fact, in hydroponics, we might be the only company which is profitable in India, right? But we are also the cheapest. So because it serves both the purpose. And that's the reason you will not find us spending a lot of money on advertisement. We don't, right? We do basic things and we are growing and we want to keep it that way.
In general, the expenditure or I mean, you mentioned that there is a lot of infrastructure cost that is like by design there with hydroponics. Like you have
Right.
to make a shelter, you have to, so it is expensive to grow this kind of things, and on the other hand your agenda is for users to switch from like something which is grown in a very cheap manner to this while being profitable, and also you're educating people in the process by doing the, and that is also not sale oriented. Is there some magic involved? Because like it is very hard for me to.
You're just making it too hard. It's not that hard. It's super simple, right? In my head, as a business leader, you are trying to make good for your customer. You are trying to make good for your company. Definitely, the problem which is still unsolved, which we just touched upon, is the setup cost. It is expensive. Government is definitely helping us out by providing a very healthy subsidy, by providing loans at a very low interest rate. So that's definitely helping us overall. We are also not setting up all these farms on our company's money. We are asking investors to come set up farms, right? There are franchise owners for us which are setting us farms. We are helping them get the subsidy. We are helping them get the approved loan at a low rate. We are helping them operate the farm fully. So they don't have to learn farming the hard way like we did. So we are helping them operationally, financially, and everything, but it's their money. So we are sort of democratizing the setup process by saying, hey, you want to invest in this? Come, let's build the farm together. It will be in your name. We will operate it. You will make money, right? So we are helping them on that front. It's sort of a angel funding or a VC funding in a different way, right? So and the second is for customer, right? Education. You're not educating something which customer didn't know, right? Everyone know healthy food. Everyone knows hypothetically that pesticides are harmful. Everyone knows preservatives are harmful. We still eat it, right? We still eat burgers. We still eat. I also eat sometimes. But we know. It's not educating anything new. You're just making it. You just bring it on your face to say, don't do it, right? You know this is harmful. I have a better alternative for you, right? And making it convenient for them. So educating, it's much harder to educate them about protein powder because that's something which they may not know or you're forcing them to. There's something they know. You just need to tell them the obvious, you know, show the obvious things. And if your prices are competitive, you're convenient. Remember those flywheels of Amazon and several other companies have created similar things, right? Bring down the cost, make it convenient for customer will buy it. And when customer buys it, your cost will go down. So you operate that flywheel.
And in this kind of a thing, there is also an element of trust, right? Once you have bought, let's say I bought basil leaves from only hydroponics. Now, as a customer, how do I know that, this is the healthy one and then this is unhealthy one? And actually, I'm getting something out of it. And that is the thing that I feel a lot of times because I have also like, in my journey, like I have switched to some organic products. I have paid extra for that. I have done all of that. But at the end of the day, I don't know whether it's actually, giving me the value that I need. So how do you establish that kind of trust relationship with customers?
I think trust builds over time. It doesn't happen in one shot. A couple of things that worked well for us is genuinely believe that you are building trust, right? Genuinely do not take shortcuts. It's okay to say no to a customer if you don't have the product, rather than just picking it up from anywhere and supply. It takes a lot of courage to do this. Trust me, right? Our average fill rate on D2C last year over 75%. So for 25% of our customers, after ordering, we said no and refunded them money, issued them additional discount coupons so that they can shop again. They were disgruntled, they were unhappy sometimes, they were shouting at sometimes. There are some bad reviews, but generally, just to give a perspective, our products are the best rated products on Amazon and Blinkit, right? But there are bad reviews. And you will find some of those bad reviews saying that they are very inconsistent. Sometimes they don't have the product. I want it daily. They're not giving me daily. Cucumber is not something which we cannot procure and supply. Right? It's available in the market. but we choose to say no. And that once you have that conviction, I think customer also slowly builds that conviction that these guys are really making an effort. It's not easy to let go of couple of crores of business after it has come to you. It's
Yeah,
not
it
easy.
is hard. Do you believe that the customer understands that, hey, this is your mission and that's why you are doing this? I know you can't explain this in plain words. Yeah,
They do, and you can't convince everyone, but majority of them you do, and you have a clear communication why, let's say uh, if you're refunding someone after their order, why you have done that. Once that communication is clear, I think a large part of customers they understand your mission, why you're doing this. And there will be always 1% of people who are unhappy. And you have to learn to live with this. That's that
yeah,
customer
of
base
course.
that you have
Yeah.
to. But I think I think that another part is, as I said, right? Once you are convinced what you're doing is right as a company, and that's a culture you are building in your team. So it's not just about me, right? If I am convinced, my operations manager has to be convinced. My business head has to be convinced. My sales guy has to be convinced. And once they're convinced, they will convince the customer because they will also talk in the same passion and in the same way that this is how we are doing business. This is not how we are doing business. And it spreads. It spreads quickly. And we are okay. If someone writes us a 1-star review, I have 1-star review on my website saying I ordered and these guys didn't deliver and refunded me. I'm okay. We publish that review. We take pride in that 1-star review, right? I show it to customers that I am okay to say no. Do you really believe cucumber is not available in the market? And I couldn't have supplied you cucumber, right? Or I couldn't have supplied you spinach. But we are saying no. And we are happy to take a 1-star review. And maybe that customer will not order from us.
So these are things you have to do for trust.
Don't take shortcuts. Do not take shortcuts in any business.
Yeah. I think we are about time. Just one meta question around is how important is the mission for the business? Because from what I listened, it was a very personal problem and that became your mission. And that's how you built this business around it. And every decision is sort of guided by this mission. Yeah. You think that's the most important thing for a business?
No, I think we started because of an emotional reason, right? We started because of something personal, but it's a business. The most important thing for a business is customer. This is our personal mission, but customer's mission is not this. Customer mission is to eat healthy food, affordable cost at convenient. So that's what customer's mission is. Our mission has to feed to that mission, right? That's the most important thing. So I remember saying this to one of the very early investors that this seems like a thing that you're doing for out of your generosity or out of your goodwill. I said, no, I'm not building an NGO. This is a company, this for profit. It's a for profit organization. And we will make enough money and we are making enough money now. At that time we were not, right? But I said, this is not an NGO. We are not building that that reason started this, right? But then you have to build business, sustainable, scalable, profitable business on top of it. It still guides us because it still tells us that we don't have to take shortcuts, right? But business decisions are taken by business acumen. Shortcuts are avoided by the mission.
Got it. Yeah,
And
well said.
like just to add on that, right, that you said that there are a lot of instances, those that you faced where and every person in this kind of set of phases where they would feel that, I want to just quit and like things are not working out. And like this is something that, is getting too hard. Do you think that having that mission, that personal drive helps in those?
Yes. Two people help. Two things help. At least personally for me, the mission is the guiding principle. So that helps, right? Because you didn't enter into it just to make money. You entered into it to do something big. So it helps. And personally for me, my wife helps. She pushes me not quit. She pushes me to just give courage, right? कि क्या हो गया? है ना? Things are okay. Your family is not dying out of hunger. Your kids are going to the same school that they were going. They're still eating the same high quality food or better high quality food that they were eating earlier,
So you're
right? Right? And you are happy. So don't get disheartened by some of the setbacks. Those things helps, right? Because and this is very similar to a co-founder. So she is a silent co-founder. And then my co-founders helps the same way, right? My brother pushes me whenever I am tired, he will not let me quit. When he's tired, I will not let him quit. And now Santosh has joined us. He's also doing the same thing. So I think that's where the team comes very handy to build. So in my team, I always count my wife also as my team because
That's great.
finally I have to go back home and then she will be the one looking at the face.
The other point I understood from that is how you align your priorities, right? Like, what are your priorities? And yeah, so that's how you weigh your decisions, right? So yeah,
Yes.
great. That was going to be my question as to what will be your advice to founders. I don't know if you have one more. Yeah, you can go ahead.
No, I think this is all right. You have to have the right team who will not let you fail. In fact, when you're down, they will bring you up. And that team has to be at both places, in your office as well as at your home. And then execution is the key to be successful, not the idea. There are very few startups who are who can say we are a novel idea. Even Amazon was not, right? Many e-commerce existed before Amazon. Many e-commerce came after Amazon. So it's not about ideas, so more about execution.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Chandan. It was great.
Yeah, it was
Thank you.
great talking to
Thank you.
you.
Thank you for listening to one old guy in Pragati's words for so long.
I was saying you were senior people in the industry.
You
I was just
said oldie.
no.
Great, Chandan. Yeah, we will hang in a little bit and like reflect on this episode. So yeah, you can drop off now. Yeah,
Sure. Thank
yeah.
you. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, this is another inspirational episode. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but I think yeah, though it's a very orthogonal business, but a lot of learnings we can all pick and use from this also. Yeah.
Yeah, I have like actually the bit around that he had the idea in 2015 when a personal situation happened, and then he built actually studied the whole science of hydroponics, or in fact not just hydroponics but like what makes food
Yeah.
unhealthy, and
Yeah.
coming from there, this is sort of like
Again, the first principle approach, right? Yeah.
yeah. This is what even Siddharth Handa did, right? They wrote in the board, what are the things that need solving for? And then let's go and solve for that. Looks like I am doing a very different job here in terms of that. I figure out what I am good at.
No, I think again, yeah. So it's not like there is no one path, right? There are different ways. I mean, yeah, maybe as we talk to more founders, we'll find more patterns.
Yeah, but this pattern is interesting that and spending like so much time on figuring out idea as well as like figuring out the fund and collecting money, and it's also all took years. So uh,
Yeah, I think grit and
and this
persistence.
story bit, right? This is a new thing. People don't know about it. And in fact, that is something that I think it's very
You may have to do.
related to
Yeah,
what I'm trying to do.
yeah, yeah.
Probably what you are also trying to do. I mean, there are so many, such an element of news. I mean, it's so new that people don't know what it is. They're not used to doing it. Like, it's not Uber that,
These are the category defining products, right? So yeah, the
yeah,
focus is to educate the market. Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, that is interesting. How do you communicate the story? I was a little bit. What is your thought on the whole like not taking money from people thing?
Say frankly, I also think about external money as a liability, right? Like again, like I said, I relate to him a lot, financial background and all that. So money, you when you take a money from someone else, you think about it as a liability. So yeah,
Interesting. And also the part that when it is your money, you actually have like you want to make it work because it's a
yeah,
do or die situation for you.
yeah.
Hmm.
So you're rethinking your fundraise now.
People are very expensive, like especially in tech companies. It's like you are raising fund for hiring.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that you have to buy a farm or an equipment or infrastructure.
Yeah,
People are so
startups are-
expensive.
Yeah, hiring people are the cost
Yeah, so
till AI gets better. Yeah, we still need people.
this is another great episode where we spoke with Chandan, and through this conversation, we got a lot of good insights, a lot of good. I think for me personally, it is quite inspiring. But yeah, that's that. That's a wrap for today. Thanks all for coming in, and we'll see you in the next episode.